The deserts of Rajasthan, where time stands still. Temperature rising above 50 degrees Celsius in the peak of summer makes living very hard. The people of the Pokhran region went about their dreary lives unaware that their villages would soon be the focus of world attention. The 11th of May 1998. The inhabitants of Khetaloy, Lathi and a few other villages were asked to vacate their homes for a few hours in the afternoon. And then at 3:45 p.m. the earth rocked, sending tremors across the Thar desert. It was like a mild earthquake, said those who experienced it. It was all over in just 5 seconds. Yes, after 24 years, yet again, India conducted a series of underground nuclear tests. In New Delhi, the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee called in the press to break the news to his countrymen and the world.
I have to make a brief announcement. Today, at 15:45 hours, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests in the Pokhran range. These tests conducted today were with a fission device, a low-yield device and a thermonuclear device. The measured yields are in line with expected values. Measurements have also confirmed that there was no release of radioactivity into the atmosphere. These were contained explosions like the experiment conducted in May 1974. I warmly congratulate the scientists and engineers who have carried out these successful tests. Thank you very much indeed.
The response from the people of the country was spontaneous. There was an euphoric welcome to the step taken by the government. The voice of dissent from a minuscule minority was drowned in the vociferous support.
ये जो हुआ है बहुत अच्छा हुआ है. वर्ल्ड को दिखाना बहुत जरूरी था और इंडिया कितना पावरफुल है एक दफे दिखाना जरूरी था.
इंडिया ने जो किया है अभी वो काफ़ी अच्छा किया है, उसमें कोई वो नहीं है. और जो इसमें कई तरह की विदेशी ताकतें जो अभी कह रही हैं कि ऐसा मतलब ये अच्छा नहीं किया या हम ग्रांट बंद कर देंगे या नहीं देंगे, तो उससे घबराना नहीं चाहिए.
एक्चुअली हर देश कर रहा होगा, हमें मालूम नहीं होगा. ये अपना देश का हमने किया है, वो सबको मालूम पड़ रहा है. इसलिए जब अमेरिका ने वगैरह बूम किया, लेकिन इट्स ओके. वी शुड डू समथिंग ना फॉर आवर सिक्योरिटी ऑफ द कंट्री.
पड़ोसी देशों को पता तो होना चाहिए कि भाई हमारी मतलब ताकत क्या है, हम हमारे पास क्या क्या हम कर सकते हैं, ताकि थोड़ा बहुत लोग डर के रहें और अपनी मतलब जिंदगी के लिए हम लोगों को इतना पता लग जाएगा मतलब हमारा देश सबसे आगे है.
India conducted 2 more nuclear tests on the 13th of May, completing its planned exercise to gather additional data for the weaponization process. India shares its borders with China across the Himalayas and with Pakistan in the north and the northwest. China invaded India in 1962. However, during the last decade, there has been considerable exchange of visits by leaders of both countries, and bilateral talks were held to improve relations. But the border dispute between the two countries remains unresolved. Further, China, which is one of the 5 nuclear weapons states and a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, is said to have been aiding and abetting Pakistan's nuclear programs. Pakistan lost 2 conventional wars with India in 1965 and 1971. Ever since, she has been waging a proxy war with India by training and arming the Kashmir militants. India had to fence the entire Indo-Pakistan border in the Punjab region to prevent the Pakistan-trained terrorists entering the state. Till recently, the marauders have played havoc with the life and property of the people of the Punjab. They spread anarchy in several parts of the country. And in recent years, Pakistan has been periodically proclaiming its nuclear capability and missile delivery system. Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee wrote to world leaders explaining India's compelling circumstances to become a nuclear weapons state. The Defence Minister, George Fernandes, spelt out the threat perception.
पाकिस्तान से तनाव है, संघर्ष है, कश्मीर में चल रहा है, अनेक स्थानों पर अनेक किस्म का समस्याएं, हरकतें हो रही हैं, वो सब चीज़ें अपनी जगह पर हैं, लेकिन हिंदुस्तान जैसे राष्ट्र को पाकिस्तान कोई ऐसा खतरनाक चीज़ नहीं कि हम ये कहें कि हमें सबसे बड़ा खतरा पाकिस्तान से है। अगर खतरे की बात करनी है और उसको आजमाकर अगर देश के सामने कोई बात रखनी है तो मेरी ये मान्यता है कि इस देश के लिए जो सबसे बड़ा खतरा है वो चीन से है।
India is a nuclear weapons state, which is a reality that cannot be denied, said the Prime Minister, making a statement in Parliament. He said, India does not intend using these weapons for aggression or for mounting threats against any country. He added that these are weapons of self-defense to ensure that India is not subjected to nuclear threats or coercion. We do not intend to engage in an arms race, the Prime Minister clarified. India is ready to discuss a no first use of nuclear weapons agreement with Pakistan and also with other countries, bilaterally or in a collective forum. Global elimination of nuclear weapons and universal disarmament remains one of the key objectives of India's foreign policy. The Prime Minister pointed out that India had declared a voluntary moratorium on further nuclear tests to meet the basic obligations of the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. A crowded press conference was addressed by Dr. Abdul Kalam, head of the Defence Research Development Organization, Dr. Chidambaram, chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, Dr. Santanam, chief technology advisor to the Defence Research Development Organization, and Dr. Anil Kakodkar, director, Bhabha Atomic Research Center. The scientists put the 5 nuclear tests in perspective and explained India's advancement in nuclear technology and weaponization capabilities.
The fissile material used in these 5 tests are completely indigenous and have been produced by local mastery over the relevant technologies in the various DAE establishments. The design and development of various kinds of nuclear explosives, the fission explosive, the boosted fission explosive, thermonuclear and low yield explosives, has been carried out by BARC, that's the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, based on more than 25 years of research and development. The tests conducted during the May 11 to 13 have provided critical data for the validation of our capability in the design of nuclear weapons of different yields for different applications and of course for different delivery systems. These tests have also significantly enhanced our capability in computer simulation of new designs and has taken us to the stage of possible subcritical experiments. What Dr. Chidambaram was talking about is a great partnership between Department of Atomic Energy and Defence Research and Development Organization.
Dr. Kalam said India's nuclear weaponization is complete. Missiles such as Prithvi and Agni are designed to carry any type of warhead. He quipped, it can also carry flowers.
Now, when nuclear technology and defense technology meet, what happens? You know, when nuclear technology and defense technology, when they meet, what happens? They get transformed to a nuclear weapon technology. they get transformed into a nuclear weapon technology.
Armed forces will now have a wide range of tactical nuclear weapons. The nuclear warheads for the surface-to-surface missile Prithvi and Agni could range from 500 kilograms to 1000 kilograms. Agni has a reach of 1500 to 2500 kilometers. Nuclear-tipped precision-guided munitions for fighter aircraft. Nuclear-tipped artillery shells. Nuclear-tipped missiles which could be fired from ships and submarines. India now has the capability to manufacture nuclear weapons meant for specific targets both within and outside the battle zone. India's nuclear capability is the saga of 50 years of relentless efforts by the country's scientists and political leadership. It all began with two visionaries, Jawaharlal Nehru and Dr. Homi Bhabha. Right from the beginning, the main purpose was to use nuclear energy for peaceful development purposes. Dr. Chidambaram explains.
See, when you talk of nuclear energy, the first thing you think of is nuclear electricity. And for this you require nuclear power reactors. We have now 10 operating power reactors in the country, which together produce about 2000 megawatts of electricity. In addition, we now have 4 more reactors under construction, and we also have a plan for building more reactors. So as you can see, the main application that we have in this country is in the area of nuclear power. But of course there are many other non-electricity applications of nuclear energy in agriculture, in medicine, in industry, in all of which India is very advanced, and these are all important peaceful applications. Essentially it comes from the applications of radioisotopes. The reactors that you see behind me, these are what we call research reactors. They don't produce electricity, they produce 100 varieties of radioisotopes, including cobalt-60 for cancer treatment, iodine isotope for thyroid diagnostics, and a number of other isotopes which can be used in diagnosing various diseases, including their use in this very important technique of radioimmunoassay. You can also use radiation to produce mutants of many agricultural seeds which are very beneficial and which have also been propagated very widely over the country. Not many people may know, for instance, that 11% of groundnut grown all over this country is based on the mutant varieties produced in Trombay. Also 90% of a particular kind of pulse, urad or black gram in the state of Maharashtra is the Trombay mutant variety.
In 1974, India conducted its first underground nuclear test for furthering progress towards developing a comprehensive indigenous nuclear technology. Today, as far as nuclear technology is concerned, India is not a developing country but a developed nation, asserts Dr. Chidambaram.
See, we are one of the few countries in the world which has got a comprehensive capability in what we call the nuclear fuel cycle. Starting with prospecting for uranium, mining this uranium, making fuel, designing, building and operating reactors, and the back end of the fuel cycle, which is reprocessing this fuel to extract the plutonium. Because this plutonium we need for our fast breeder program, which is the second stage of our program, and then waste disposal.
Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, accompanied by Defence Minister George Fernandes, the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, the Governor and Chief Minister of Rajasthan, and senior scientists visited the nuclear test range in the Pokhran region. The salient features of the 5 nuclear tests were explained. A lower yield device was used for the tests to avoid possible seismic damage to buildings in the neighboring villages, which were less than 5 kilometers away. The 11th of May tests involved a 12 kiloton fission device, a 43 kiloton thermonuclear device, and a 0.2 sub-kiloton low-yield device. The blasts produced a seismic signal of 4.7 on the Richter scale. having tested a hydrogen bomb, India could now produce a nuclear bomb of 200 kilotons. Pakistan, China, the United States of America and several other countries sharply reacted to the Indian nuclear tests. Ignoring the plea of world leaders, on the 28th and 29th of May, Pakistan conducted 7 nuclear tests in the Sagai Hills, close to the Afghan border. And the people of Pakistan were jubilant. The United Nations voiced concern about the increasing proliferation of nuclear arms. The 5 nuclear weapon states, who also constitute the Security Council of the United Nations, asked the Secretary General to report on the nuclear proliferation scenario in South Asia. India has rejected the observations of the UN and reiterated the need for discussion to achieve global disarmament. India's nuclear policy stands vindicated when we look at the nuclear weapons pile-up among the 5 nuclear powers. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists of the Natural Resources Defense Council estimates that beginning from 1945 until 1992, the USA had conducted 1,032 nuclear tests and is expected to have a stockpile of 12,070 nuclear weapons. Russia conducted its first explosion in 1946 and has carried out 750 nuclear tests until 1990. It is estimated to have 22,500 nuclear warheads. France began its nuclear tests in 1961 and had conducted 210 tests until 1996. It is reported to have a stockpile of 500 nuclear weapons. The United Kingdom between 1952 and 1991 had conducted 45 nuclear tests and stockpiled 380 nuclear warheads. China carried out its earliest test in 1964. Until 1996, she had conducted 45 nuclear explosions and is estimated to have 450 nuclear warheads in its arsenal. Compared to all this, India has conducted a mere 6 tests in 24 years between 1974 and 1998. It has just begun its weaponization program.
We must first realize that India's commitment to non-proliferation is second to none in the world. In fact, if you look back in history from the time of Jawaharlal Nehru, every instrument that has been proposed for non-proliferation has originated with an Indian initiative. But this particular instrument, which divides the world into 2 kinds of countries, nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states, is not acceptable to India on fundamental principle because it is so blatantly discriminatory. Discriminatory in the sense that only a few countries have what you can say license to proliferate. Even though nuclear disarmament has been built into the NPT, the 5 nuclear weapon states have been able to proliferate during the 25 years of existence of this treaty. Of course, the treaty is also flawed in many other ways.
Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee has made it very clear that India stands for a complete nuclear test ban and elimination of nuclear weapons at the global level. There cannot be one set of rules for 5 countries and one for the others. India has offered to sign the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty only after a re-examination of all its clauses. India has also offered to hold talks on no first-time use of nuclear weapons with Pakistan. The nation stands squarely behind the Prime Minister when he tells the world that India is a peace-loving country and will lead the fight for total disarmament.